These are the worst countries for women based on the WPS report, ranking 170 countries on the basis of women, peace, and security using the national index. Hey guys, welcome to FTD Facts. Leroy Kenton here. We got 10 countries to visit, so let's begin. Starting off with number 10, we have Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone has experienced relative peace in the past 2 decades, but gender inequality progress has been slow due to the crises such as the Ebola epidemic. Widespread issues including outdated gender norms, high rates of female body part disfigurement, and maternal mortality. Women receive less than 3 years of schooling, and school-related gender-based violence is often overlooked. The country is working on a safe learning model to prevent the normalization of the poor treatment of women. The country in at the number 9 spot is Sudan. Over a third of Sudanese women believe that their intimate partner can justifiably beat them under certain circumstances, and a significant portion of women are married before they turn 18. However, Sudan has made progress in women's rights by criminalizing female body part disfigurement and achieving 40% female representation in the transitional parliament back in 2019. Now, there are some laws restricting women's rights though that were also revoked. Moving on to number 8, we have Chad. Chad ranks 8th worst on the WPS index and 160th out of 162 countries on the UN's Gender Inequality Index. Child marriage is very prevalent in the country, with a median age of 16 for girls and 22 for boys, putting girls at risk of pregnancy, surgery, passing away, as well as just running away. Chad has the second highest maternal mortality rate in the world, with 1,140 losses of life per 100,000 live births. Women receive less than 2 years of education, they're underrepresented in parliament, and have historically had the highest rate of female body part disfigurement. However, the enactment of the reproductive health law 2 decades ago has led to a decrease in reported intimate partner violence against women. DRC comes up next at number 7. DRC, or the Democratic Republic of the Congo, ranks low on both the WPS index and the UN's Gender Inequality Index, and there is limited progress though made towards gender equality. The country is one of the least developed in the world, with persistent humanitarian needs, and it suffers from discrimination at the legislative level, leading to normalized poor treatment of women. DRC has a high occurrence of violence and intimate partner violence, with a significant percentage of women marrying before the age of 18 and having children before the age of 20. Education rates are also low, particularly for women in the country. From there, we go on to South Sudan, coming in at the number 6 spot. According to the WPS index, South Sudan ranked 165 out of 170 countries for women's rights and security. South Sudan has harmful gender norms due to a patriarchal society, worsened by long-standing conflict that magnifies these imbalances. Women face persistent exclusion from decision making, and they have minimal power in the household, and they lack land rights and resource ownership. The country has a very high maternal mortality rate, and financial inclusion for women is under 5%. Every 4th South Sudanese woman reports intimate partner violence. Number 5 takes us to the country of Iraq. Iraq protests back in 2019 resulted in journalists being threatened and their lives were taken by militia groups. The female population in Iraq is most affected by war and sectarian violence, as well as enduring laws and normalized practices that foster gender inequality, including gender-based violence. Back in the year 2010, 1 in 5 Iraqi women was subjected to domestic violence, and at least 36 of married Iraqi women experienced intimate abuse in 2012. The country continues to rank among the worst for women due to the limited participation of women and girls in significant fields. And one thing to note is that there is also a widening gender gap. The country coming in at number 4 is Pakistan. Pakistan is ranked 167th out of 170 countries in the WPS index due to extreme discrimination against women. In many cases, girls receive less than 4 years of education, and child marriage is common, and employment rate for women is at 21%. Violence against women and girls is widespread throughout the country, and the gender gap in Pakistan is largely influenced by legal frameworks, gender norms, and societal roles. The ranking hides significant discrepancies in women's rights between provinces, with the lowest ranked provinces performing 4 times worse than the highest ranking ones. Next up at number 3, Yemen. Yemen's patriarchal society and rigid gender roles have resulted in deep-seated gender inequality, making women in the country particularly vulnerable. Negative attitudes towards women are perpetuated by both tradition and modern culture, which is further worsened by the discriminatory legal system and economic disparities. Only 6.04% of women are employed, with Article 40 of Yemen's personal status law restricting women's work to certain approved roles. Yemen is currently in an economic crisis with damaged infrastructure and collapsed services, leading to an extreme shortage of basic necessities like food, water, sanitation, and healthcare. Women are not allowed to make important family decisions, nor do they have any recourse to report spousal mistreatment. Coming down to the number 2 spot, let's go and visit Syria. It's important to note that the situation in Syria is definitely a complex and multifaceted one, with numerous parties involved in the ongoing conflicts. However, it is true that Syrian women have been disproportionately affected by the conflict and continue to face significant challenges related to gender-based violence, access to basic needs such as food, water, and healthcare, and limited political and economic opportunities. The ongoing conflict has led to significant displacement, with millions of Syrians fleeing to neighboring countries as refugees, where they often face additional challenges and discrimination. Ending this episode off at number 1, we have the country of Afghanistan. Afghanistan has deeply ingrained gender-based roles and has been ravaged by disputes for over 5 decades, rendering it the worst country for women. The country ranks last on the Women, Peace and Security Index among 170 nations and is placed at 157th out of 162 on the UN Gender Inequality Index, with only 7.2% of women having financial inclusion, according to WPS. Women's civil liberties are severely restricted, leading to one of the highest rates of intimate partner violence. Domestic violence affects 35% of women in the country, as well as illiteracy affects 37%, with some girls being forced to leave school. Education for girls is generally limited to 2nd grade, and about 1/3 are married by the age of 18, with high risks during pregnancy. And on that note, that concludes this episode looking at the 10 worst countries for women. Let me know down below in the comment section if any of these countries came as a surprise to you, or any other thoughts that you have. Let me hear down below. Don't forget to leave a big thumbs up if you made it this far. And until next time, guys, stay awesome, stay educated. I'll see you in the next episode.